Everyone please rise for the pledge of standing for the land acknowledgement statement. Pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Salamanca City Central School District acknowledges the homeland of the Anandawaka, the people of the Great Hill, the Seneca people on whose ancestral and modern day land Salamanca School District now stands and whose water we enjoy. We stand with all Indigenous peoples in their resolve to remain connected to their land. While we cannot undo what has been done, it is the goal of the Salamanca City Central School District to recognize the history and make improvements that will benefit the next 7 generations of Indigenous students. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We have, I should know, Christian is excused tonight. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
Yes, there were just a couple since it was published initially on Friday. Item 7D is a TalkPath Live contract that has been added. 8A, there were some typo errors, and we added the grant administrator, and in 8D, we added the grant administrator's contract.
Okay, then I need a motion to approve the agenda with the changes.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Carrie, second by Dale. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Next, we have our presentations. So we have our audit.
We have Fulton Monroe from Lumsden to review our audit, which is literally hot off the press.
Hello, everyone. I am Fulton Monroe, audit manager with Lumsden McCormick. This is my first year auditing this school district, so I'm very happy to be part of the team, and it's a really great team to work with, and just kind of go through our deliverables and some of the financial results that we had for our audit. So in your packet, you'll see the first few pages as the slide deck. So what I'll cover first is the deliverables under the audit scope and results. And so, consistent with prior years, we have a clean audit opinion on the financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP for short. We also have a clean opinion to the auditor's report required by government auditing standards. So the accounting standards in accordance with GAAP, there's also no issues with that as well. And then our third major audit report is on the compliance for each major federal program on internal control by uniform guidance, which is basically all of the district's federal expenditures. So we will go through and what's called a single audit, go through and audit all the different federal expenditures per the specific federal programs that we select for testing, which this year was the impact aid, which we usually test just because it's such a large amount, and then the education stabilization fund. So the district in total this year expended $12.2 million in federal funds, which was a decrease compared to about $16.9 million last year. And so that's attributed to about a $6.7 million decrease in impact aid expended this year due to funding. And then that was offset by about $1.8 million in an increase in COVID-related funding. So we tested both those programs, have about 79% coverage for the total federal expenditures. And so this district is deemed a low-risk auditee, which means that there's been no findings in recent years, no internal control issues, like I said, a clean opinion. So we're only required to test 20% of that. The census programs, those two programs make up such a large amount. We test a good amount more than that. So no issues there. And then the other deliverable we have is the data collection form, which again related to federal expenditures is where we go through and prepare once the audit is final. We'll go in and submit a listing of all the federal expenditures and some added detail for each grant that the school districts received and expended funds for. So in addition to that, there's the extra classroom activity reports. And so that's part of the packet. And then we also do testing on, we select some of the clubs with higher activity, go through all of the receipts and disbursements, documentation, look at things for approval. That things being reviewed, that treasurer's reports and student reports reconcile. And so there was also very clean in that aspect too. So no issues there as well. I'll get into that a little bit on the upcoming slides. And then the other two deliverables are the communication with those charged with governance letter and the management letter. So we'll get to that in these next couple slides here. So if you flip your page to the required communications on the next slide. So this letter covers any significant disclosures or estimates for the current year audit, anything that's necessary to communicate to the board. And so similar to prior years, again, very clean audit, so there weren't any findings or anything significant to disclose there. This letter basically just compromises our normal significant disclosures and significant estimates. And then it also includes that the district did adopt ASB 96 subscription-based information technology arrangements for software. However, it wasn't material to the financial statements, so there wasn't any impact to the financial statements, but we still just disclosed that that is a new accounting standard applicable to the district. So you'll see that in there, and then you'll go over the significant estimates, which again remain similar to prior years. So that include your capital assets, unearned revenue, compensated absences, and then pension and OPEB related activity. And then the significant disclosures, those basically include the long-term liabilities and pension OPEB absences, which are such significant amounts that also include estimates as well. And then these next few points just go over if there were any issues. Like I said, it would be in this report, but all of these are not applicable because we didn't have any uncorrected misstatements or any disagreements with management. None of that was applicable. Overall good. And then just wanted to add before going to the other slide, the only audit adjustments we had were just like reclassifications for things like the leases and then like our conversion from the fund basis to the government-wide full accrual. So really standard entries as well as for prior years. And I'll get into a little bit more of that on what entries I'm kind of talking about with that conversion. So when we look through the numbers. So we can really clean out with audit adjustments as well. So go ahead and flip to the next slide with the management letter. So again, the main point here is no material weaknesses. So that means there was no significant findings that we saw that would lead us to believe that the financial statements are not in accordance with GAAP or DAS or any other regulations. And then, as you know, the fund balance from prior years, it still exceeds the 4% of the next year's budget expenditures. So, this one's the school district's unique with the impact date and some of the other tuition that kind of increases the revenues that the general fund receives. So, the board and management have efforts to, restrict different funds for the reserves and the committed fund balances to designate amounts to expend for specific purposes. So, it is under plan, but it's just one of those instances where, with different funding and things, that does exceed the 4%. So it's just an observation there. And then again, with the capital assets and other, just observation, one point out that a lot of improvements were made in this regard in, reconciling the reports that we get to the accounting ledgers. So management is just kind of going through a final reconciliation to make any other adjustments to fully true that up. But again, a lot of improvement has been made in that area. And then I just want to point out for the extra classroom activity funds that I mentioned earlier, again, was clean this audit, and we saw a lot of improvement from previous year findings that we had. So those are resolved as well. So much improvement in that regard. And then when I mentioned the ASB 96 was adopted this year, I just wanted to point out a couple accounting standards that are coming out in the next 2 fiscal years. So next year, ASB 100 will be applicable to the district, accounting changes and error corrections. And this is really only applicable if there is a significant standard that the district is adopting, or if there's any big change to accounting estimate or something like that. So likely that won't really have an impact, at least for next year. And then the next one is the SB 101, compensated absences, which basically standardizes how districts calculate their compensated absences for employees leave and just different time accrued. So we also don't expect any big changes with that as well in relation to how it's already currently reported. So just a few minor accounting updates there. All right, and then we'll go to the summary of funds. So like I said, there's the fund basis, which we'll get into first, and then the government-wide full basis. So here, it's just a snapshot of the overall general fund balances, and in the bottom, you'll see the fund balance for the other funds as well. So with general fund, it's pretty consistent with last year. The big change here is that the board adopted a new capital reserve, which was funded 5 million, a little over 5 million. So fund balance in total is made up of the restricted reserves, the committed fund balance, which I mentioned earlier. Then you have the assigned, so the 3 million is the same as last year for the designation for next year's budget to reduce next year's tax levy. And then the unassigned fund balance, which remained pretty consistent with last year. And we'll go over what the general fund revenues and expenses were this year that were included in that unassigned change. So then the fund balance for capital projects, so you'll see that decreased 7 million this year. That was due to around 10 million being expended for the 2019 capital outlay projects. Offset by about 3 million in transfers in from the general funds. And then special aid, you'll see is 0, which it should be. And that fund, you can only earn what you've expended through all the different grants. So anything that was received but not expended would be as a deferred revenue and included liability. So revenues expenses should net to 0, which they do there for the prior year. And then we'll look at food service and debt service. Those remain pretty consistent overall. And then the special revenue as well, which is made up of your scholarships, donations, things like that. So the other funds were pretty consistent with the prior year, as well as the total fund balance in general. All right, so if we flip to the general fund revenue slide, this just highlights the couple major buckets of that revenue. So you'll see in total, it only decreased slightly from last year. So if we look at the breakdown here, state aid increased about 2 million. Federal aid decreased, as I mentioned earlier, from the impact aid that was recognized as revenue expenditures, decreased by that 6.7 million. So that impacted that primarily. And then the property tax remained consistent. And then the other revenue increased by about 4 million. So that was primarily due to an increase in tuition revenue received. And also a lot of that was actually interest income from interest rates being quite a bit higher this year. For the cash. All right, and then we'll go into the general fund expenditures. So salaries increased a decent amount by 1.5 million. That was really due to additional employees and just your standard salary increases for the year. And then the other expenses below for the employee benefits, the retirement systems, a slight increase due to the state rates for the employee retirement systems and the teacher retirement systems. Health insurance increased about 500,000, primarily due to an increase in rates and the additional plans, and then payroll taxes, similar to the increase in salaries, had a slight increase as well. Debt service expenditures decreased from about 3 million to 2 million due to one less bond payment this year. There was a $1.3 million payment for a bond that's fully expended last year, so that made up that decrease. And then the BOCE services and transportation expenditures are both pretty consistent with prior years. So overall, about a little less than $2 million increase in expenditures for the general fund. Okay. So then we go to the government-wide summary and reconciliation. So just a high-level summary of the changes on the full basis here after we did our government-wide conversion entries. So current assets, those increased about 13 million. That was mostly due to an increase in unearned revenue for impact aid for revenue, so cash that was received, that's included in cash right now, and it also is included under revenues and the liabilities. So that's why you're seeing both current assets and other liabilities of 49 million, both increased by about that dollar figure. So that was the primary results of those fluctuations. And then for capital assets, you'll see an increase of about 6.5 million. So that was, like I said, the expenditures for the capital outlay projects, which exceeded your depreciation on all the other assets that are currently in service. And then broken down on a separate line here are the pension, other post-employment benefits. That had a decrease of about $1 million. And that's due to actuarial fluctuations from the state retirement systems and the OPEB calculations from the district's actuary that goes through all the different GASB 75 reports that factor in different actuarial assumptions for, discount rates, things like that. So that activity drops, like I said, about $1 million. And then long-term liabilities remain pretty consistent. Like I said, there was payments of the bonds and other smaller activity that makes up that decrease. And then all the liabilities, like I mentioned earlier, for the unearned revenue. And so the table right below that, that's just a quick reconciliation, taking the net loss from the governmental funds 1.7, and then adding back some of the accrual entries that we made for capital assets, long-term liabilities, and the pension OPEB to get to the government-wide net income. And so the final slide basically just summarizes the main points that I already talked about. So you'll just kind of go over the increase in the current assets, capital assets, pension. So that pretty much covers that summary as well. Like I said, a very clean audit, and thank everyone for their cooperation. Any questions from the board? Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Alright. Next, we will move on to the National Science Foundation.
Hi there, Mrs. Johnson.
Hello, hello, hello. So I wanted to take a few minutes and make sure that everybody was aware of this grant from the National Science Foundation that Salamanca is participating in. We are actually in the second year of a 5-year program, and it is run through the Warner School of Education at the University of Rochester, but it's a grant from the National Science Foundation. So it's going through the University of Rochester. Next slide, please. You can go ahead, next one. So it's called Be a Jedi. That's the name of the program. And what it stands for is they're fostering, sustaining a STEM, we call it STEAM, culture of, here's the Be a Jedi part, belonging, accessibility, justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. So they're calling it Be a Jedi. That's the name of the program. Next one, please. So this is the group of schools that are currently participating. The cohort consists of 19 fellows or teachers from these different districts. We have 4 teachers that signed up at the beginning of last year to participate. They include Judy Pickett, who is a science teacher, Kristen McElhaney, Mallory Ferrucci, and Jennifer Ball are our 3 math teachers. This is a program that was only being offered to math and science teachers in an effort to try and promote STEM or STEAM in those areas first, in hopes that they would branch out. Next one, please. So the next 3 slides really are just talking about the goals of this program. If we can go to the next slide, please. This is what the teachers are trying to promote. So they're trying to address inequities. They're trying to help all students learn STEM in a meaningful way, or STEAM. They're also transforming their own instruction, or they're looking at alternative ways to instruct students, and they're looking for alternative professional development. I feel like all of these are things that are part of our school goals also. So it lined up beautifully. So it's the same thing. We can go on here, slide number 9 and 10. Next one, please. So here's kind of their 5-year. So year 1 and 2, and they've already done year 1. We're currently in year 2. They were focusing on justice-centered STEM learning and teaching. They're taking classes through the University of Rochester. Most of their classes are online. In the summertime, I believe that they've had to go for a few days of training. Year 3, they're focusing on STEM coaching for equity. Year 4 is focused on STEM professional learning. And then their 5th year, they will focus on STEM and reform efforts. Next slide, please. So, and this is just, this is what I had said before. Their mentors that are working with them are professors from the University of Rochester. Next slide, please. And one more. So here's how our 4 teachers are benefiting from this. They're getting free graduate coursework. They're getting a free master's degree from the University of Rochester. They're also getting 3 advanced certificates: teacher leadership, digitally rich teaching, urban teaching and learning. They're getting, this is really sweet, for years 2 through 5, they're getting a stipend of $12,000 from the National Science Foundation. And they are assigned a mentor from the University of Rochester for the full 5 years. And then they go there in person years 1 and 2 for some summer work. Next one, please. We can skip over this, we're gonna get to our commitment. Well, the teacher's commitment. Their biggest commitment is they have to continue teaching in their current position. They can't leave Salamanca and go to another school. So they were making a 5-year commitment to stay in that position that they're teaching. It says at least 50% of their day has to be in the classroom teaching. They're also promising to be a lead teacher within our school to help promote STEM or STEAM, which makes me super excited. They also have to complete their coursework. If for some reason they have to back out of the program, it is the teacher's responsibility to then pay the University of Rochester for the coursework that they've taken. It's not the school's responsibility. Next one, please. And then commitments from us as a district. It's what we already do. It's to provide them with a classroom, with the materials, with the professional development, so that they can utilize the things that they're learning in their classes. I'm going to bring you all the way to the very last bullet on there. It says contribute in-kind resources for a target of $5,000 per year. That does not mean that the district has to hand out $5,000 for this program. We can look at this as time that administrators have spent working on doing some of the paperwork, helping the teachers. It can be towards professional development that the teachers are taking, and then they get reimbursed for their professional development. So this is something that Dr. Petrello and I will be working on over the next few weeks to justify last year's, and then we'll carry forward with that for the rest of the years. And yeah, they just gave us all kinds of examples of what this in-kind documentation is, for the district to justify the $5,000. And I think that might be about it. Do you guys have any questions on the program?
How do the teachers like it so far?
I think they like it. I've talked with Judy. Our math teachers are all having babies right now, so but they're still able to do it from home. But Judy has talked about it. She loves it. She's very excited. She has also offered to go into the younger grades to work with our elementary teachers to also promote some STEM in some of their curriculum. It's a great program. Each of those 4 teachers already have their master's degree, I believe. They have their first master's. So this is a bonus master's for them.
So are they gonna run anything again like this where other teachers might wanna sign up?
I have no idea if the university will go for another grant with the NSF. It's a great program, and I'm sure some of it will depend on really what their findings are.
Yeah.
If they feel like it's been able to help.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Good, thank you. All right. We'll move on to our communications. Do we have anything? Yours? All right. We can move on to Title VI. Aaron, you got an update for us?
Hey, not too much, I'm kind of keeping you guys updated. Obviously the school started up now going, so our student programs are now going, sending youth dancers and elevating the youth installations. So we're already seeing a pretty decent out there. So that's kind of our main goal coming back September is make sure our student programs and their programs are up and running. So Shayla that I, of course, the American Services is AIYC, and John was our advisor for some youth dancers. We've been talking about NIEA a lot, the National Indigenous Education Association, so that you might not even see me again next time for the next board meeting. So I think Title VI will have 8 staff and 2 students for the first time, of course, going on that. Super excited about that one, and can't wait to kind of give you guys an update, and hopefully they can bring students into the next board meeting following and we can give an update on some of their experience down there. So and then our Indigenous Parents Committee meetings have been rocking and rolling, have been very productive, lots of meaningful collaboration with district staff, outside schools from the country, even people in Canada have interest. A lot of just different schools and people have interest that run their own Title VI programs in their schools. And they're looking at our IPC and see a lot of parent involvement and staff involvement and student involvement, which they've noticed in their schools hasn't been so strong. So a lot of interest, which is awesome. So please continue to pitch that. That's the second Wednesday of every month. And we do a lot of work in those, and that's where most of the information about Title VI comes out, other than just a couple of quick updates here. So if you really are interested in learning a lot more about Title VI, please come to those meetings. But yeah, that's all.
All right, thank you. Anyone have any questions, Aaron? Okay.
Oh, and then there's a logo contest as well for some youth dancers. Thank you, Levi. We've been putting it on the morning announcement for where to wake up. Every morning, we have the staff and students involved. We're creating for the first time ever, really, since I remember even 10, 12 years ago when I did SCCSD, we never really had a logo. So we're now creating that logo, kind of making it a contest. We have a winner. So whether that's going to be a staff or student that wins that, our SYD is on the 17th is the deadline for the last logo accepting. And as soon as we pick a logo winner for that, we're going to start pushing it on all our posters, social media, and kind of starting using that for our school. So I felt like that was a pretty cool attachment for whatever student or staff maybe gets to have that logo for our school.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll move on to the central office message. Dr. Pontrello, do you want to got any updates from home?
I just wanted to, I'm sorry that I'm not there, but I've been pretty sick. I wanted to just say a little bit about the science program, dovetailing off of what Cheryl Johnson came up and explained. I've been in and out of classrooms with teachers and students and Mrs. Johnson, and I'm seeing exactly what she has characterized here. Children are engaged, and everything that I've been seeing is state of the art. The students are motivated, and it's a very positive and promising endeavor that we're entering in this grant. So I'm really excited to be able to help out with that. Other than that, I have continued to move from school to school, which is probably how I picked up this nasty flu. But I have been meeting more teachers, meeting consecutively with our instructional coaches and our interventionists, and also our school principals. And we are figuring out what things we're doing really well and what things we have to work on. And I think that that's a perfect start to our work together.
So, thank you. Anybody have any questions? All right, well, we hope you feel better. Thanks
Thank
for-
you. Thanks.
Anyway. I will ask Karen, do you have any updates for us?
I don't have COVID anymore.
Oh, That's positive.
No, not really. It's pretty much status quo for right now.
Okay. We'll move on to the board message. Tracy, you want to kick us off?
Sure. I was kind of excited learning about the program for the teachers. That's a great opportunity that that they have to participate in, and that Salamanca participates in that. So there's not only a lot of great opportunities for the students here at Salamanca, but also and I'm happy to see that.
I don't have anything this week.
Good.
Sorry about that.
I missed last week, so I just want to welcome everyone back, and then, of course, I've got to wish the Bills fans good luck this week, because obviously they need it.
Oh,
No.
Not all I got.
Well, I don't have anything besides go Bills and squish the fish.
Just for that, it's gonna snow this week.
Yeah. We could only hope.
We are hoping. I guess we'll keep it short. I want to thank everybody, as always. Thank you guys for everything you do. Thank you guys for all the hard work you're putting in. Thank you for everything you do for our kids and community. You know, you guys are awesome, and I appreciate it. That's it.
I'd also like to state that Buffalo beats Miami. We did go to the Washington game this week, so I hope it's the same result. The Buffalo victory. And if it's not, I'm not gonna hear from Brad at the next board meeting. That's all I'm gonna say. Kindly excuse it.
Put them on mute.
Yeah. Exactly. But seriously, thank you for everybody that's here tonight, especially the students that are here. Again, we love to hear from the students, the community, the staff. I just want to reiterate again that if there's things that we're doing great, you want to share them, please shout it out. There's things that we're not doing great that you would like to see changed, we want to hear that too. We're here to support, and I think that speaking for the board, we want to support everyone, the students, the staff, the administrators, the community. You know, so we really want to hear feedback, and we really want you to know that we're in your corner and that we're always working to make our staff happier, our students happier, and we want to promote a positive and healthy culture. So if there are changes, or if there's anything you see, please don't be afraid to reach out to any of us that are here, because we welcome the feedback, and if we don't know, we can't make changes for the better. Like I said, we like to think that we do everything perfect, but we know that we don't. So help us out in that regard, and we're always welcome to have the students and everyone here. Maybe sometime Mark will even provide snacks for people. We don't know. But that's all I have. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Beal.
Sure, just a quick one. Last week, well, we're in our 4th week of school for the 23-24 school year. And just walking through the halls, it's obvious the amount of hard work that went into prepping for the school year across the board with all of our teachers and administrators and support staff alike. The year started off smoothly, it's continuing to do so, and that doesn't just happen accidentally. Last week, I had the opportunity to take David Frank, Assistant Commissioner for the State Education Department, and Clarissa Jacobs, who's with the Indigenous Education component of the State Education Department, on a bit of a tour of the district. We hit each one of the schools, and they were impressed, to say the very least. They have actually asked us to work with some of the other state contract schools to be a model for some of the components that we have in place here. And it was really a nice opportunity to sort of see everything that's happening in our schools, not in a staged format. It wasn't, they went from place to place and everybody knew where they were going. We were just walking through the halls, and it was great to see that our students were, our never good when police department calls you when all of our students were exceptionally well behaved, and at the end they were absolutely thrilled with what we have to offer here. One other thing that I just wanted to take note of is we're only 3 weeks into school, and the district and the Seneca Nation Education Department suffered a tremendous loss with Mr. Ross. He was not only a social worker with the nation and our students, but he was also a coach. And it's impressive to always see how the district comes together in moments like that. Our crisis team did an absolutely incredible job of pulling together and providing supports, not just for our students and our staff, but for the community at large. Yeah. And I wanted to extend our gratitude and ensure the Ross family that anything and everything that we can do to support them moving forward, the district will be doing. Thank you.
Sorry about that. We have a little bit of a emergency. Next, we're gonna move on to the consent agenda. So we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Tracy. Seconded by, was it Ted? Brad. Second by Brad. Are there any questions on any of the items? Okay.
Yeah, I want to hear about that senior trip coming up. Billy?
I actually have a presentation I've got from it.
Love to see.
That's not too.
Okay.
I'll try to make it quick, because some of the stuff has a lot of words, but nah. It's just about what we're doing on it. So the senior trip, St. Augustine, Florida, oldest city in USA. Can you put to the two? Okay, so last year, junior year, we had a meeting, like really kind of at the beginning of the year, last half hour of the day. And every junior in attendance, seniors now, was in the cafeteria for this meeting. The first thing I asked was if anyone wanted to go to Disney, because that seemed to be where everyone has been going lately. No one wanted to go to Disney. So I had suggested St. Augustine, New York, and Savannah. I also told the kids they could look up things to do that they might think are interesting or fun, or even let me know, or me and Alicia know, if there's any other place they wanted to go. Like, you tell me, it's your trip, not mine. One student came back and suggested Yellowstone. So I took Savannah off and put Yellowstone on. Can you click the next one, please? Okay, so we took a vote. This was, again, last year, probably a month after our meeting. 33 kids voted for St. Augustine, 15 was Yellowstone, 14 was New York City, and 5 did not plan on not going. And the other kids just didn't vote. So we moved forward with the plans for St. Augustine. So we did some research, got some activities. This is the activities planned and budgeted into the cost. We have, when we get there that night, a ghostly walking tour. There's a lot of stuff, but the alligator farm, which has a lot more than alligators. There's tortoises and birds and snakes and all sorts of things. There's also shows that we can watch them feed the alligators, it's lots of fun. Marine land. This one I'm trying to get a swim adventure with every student. So if that happens, every student will be able to spend a half an hour in the water with a dolphin. So I'm got my fingers crossed.
Will they be able to ride the dolphin?
I don't know about riding, because I think, no, they do that, like with swim with the dolphin. I don't know if they'll be able to do that because I think it's the shallow one, because it's cheaper. So I think it's just like, I don't exactly know what will happen in there, so. But it's up close interaction with the dolphin. The Fountain of Youth, I hear the water tastes horrible, but I'd like to try it anyway. Maybe I'll feel a little younger.
Bring me back some.
We'll bring you back some, just get a bottle. They're like, no, this is just my drink. It's fine. So they do say that the Fountain of Youth is here, and this is in fact where it is. And you can taste water, and there's like just a lot of history and culture that happens here, and then touring of the I can't even remember how many acres it is there, but it's like huge. Is it not known? There's more, I promise. Okay. St. George Street. Oh, I love St. George Street. Lots of shopping, good shops, little ice cream shop, touristy kind of things, souvenirs, stuff like that. So a little bit of time on St. George Street, just for a little bit of fun and shopping. A little bit more fun at some mini golf. Take a couple hours, just like I don't know how many holes are gonna go. 9, I don't know. But just some fun. 18 is actually 18. So take the kids there, just so it's not all history and science. And also some time to relax. So there's some beach time. The hotel that we're trying to book is right on the beach at the pool. And it's right on A1A, so there is like the strip there, things to do. So concerns. I'm trying to address all the concerns before people have them, so they have this and they know that I've already been thinking about them. Lifeguard for the beach time. I spoke with my agent who was strictly out of St. Augustine. And she is going to, like a night security, find a lifeguard that will come in during our beach time, because the beach, like we have tons of seniors that are lifeguards, but obviously we're not trained for ocean rescue. So it's like a completely different set of skills. And we do have lifeguards on for the beach time. Security at night, obviously. Not only will we have people there, but I'm gonna try to figure out some other apparatuses to use to ensure like doors are staying closed and no one's trying to sneak out. Their kids. Try. I'm gonna stop before it happened. I requested that all males are on one floor, all females are on another floor, and that everyone has beachfront rooms so that we're all just really in just that same area. Okay. Cost concerns. Right now it's approximately 1,700. This includes all meals. I want students to be able to fundraise as much as they can and go and not have to worry about whether or not they can afford to. I'm also have the paperwork completed, ready to go to get some help from BOCES with their coaster program. I spoke with, I can't really remember her name, but I spoke with the lady who does the coaster quite a few times, and she like assisted me in the process of filling out paperwork properly. So that's done and ready to go. We'll put a payment plan in place and do lots of fundraising.
How does that compare to senior trips in the past, do you know?
Cost.
Yeah, cost wise.
It was around 1360 last year.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more.
It's a little bit more.
But the kids didn't want, because I know I told like Disney's usually cheaper, and that was really one of the other reasons that they did choose Disney, but they just didn't want.
Right.
So I said that's fine. Is there another one? Oh, transportation. Okay. I don't know what the last one was though. Okay, time. So transportation, we'll use the school buses to go up. I'm not gonna get a charter bus for that. And then Ancient City Tours, that is a company, will be picking us up in Jacksonville and taking us to St. Augustine. And then they will be the ones taking us all around while we're in St. Augustine. And then obviously taking us back to Jacksonville. And like time, so I know like there's a lot of planned stuff, but I did try to get in the burst of time where there is time to relax, time to go to the pool, time to go to the beach, or do some shopping, so that they don't feel like it's all, oh, this one, go, 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 and then they're just like that. So I want them to like really enjoy it, go to the beach, see St. Augustine, just experience something that they haven't before.
And are you doing like a group dinner or no?
Well, all the meals are planned. I think how it's gonna work is at the hotel, we'll do breakfast and dinners there. And then while we're out, we'll, so the Alligator Farm has like a cafe there, so we can eat there. And also Marine Land has a cafe there, so we can eat there. And then at St. George Street, there's places if they want to buy more food, they can.
Right,
But like the whole point, like my whole point is I want them to be able to
not worried about.
not worry about,
And then what's the length of time?
4 days.
4 days? Okay.
So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Did I cover it all in the
I think
PowerPoint?
so. You did pretty good. Good job. No, I wanted to ask just because it's a deviation from the norm.
It is, I just told the kids, I don't care where they go. I'll do whatever I can to help you get there, as long as it gets approved. So, so that was the goal. Thank you.
Thank you.
So do we have any other questions? We got a motion by Tracy, second by Brett, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed, abstained, motion carried. Item 7A is items for surplus. We have bus, some truck, bucket trucks, caravans, mixer, printer, cabinet, TVs. So we need a motion to declare those items surplus.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, second by Carrie. Are there any questions?
Yeah, how come only one bus? And why wasn't this done with previous auction?
I don't know. There will be a couple more buses coming too, because they're actually looking to trade it in on the ones that we just got. I think maybe what happened with this one is we were gonna hold it as the tech bus, and then it got switched to a different one. So this one can be. That's what I think. But I would have not that way.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and I was just curious, I mean, the mileage, didn't we say before we try to push them to 100 or what's?
Well, we're going with a 7-year rotation. That way, everything is completely warranted for that time frame. So this is 7 years.
Okay.
And this is, I believe, one of the max force engines that we're phasing out. To try and get rid of those, because they have consistent problems.
We'll put everything up on the Auctions International. We had somebody from California coming to us last.
So RV home.
Probably.
Okay, any other questions? Do we have a motion by Dale, second by Carrie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Item B is our contract for every person, including his children, or EPIC, running from August 1st, 2023 to July 31st, 2024, in the amount of $166,964. So we need a motion to approve the EPIC contract. Motion by Tracy,
Second.
second by Carrie. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Yeah, Mark, give us a rundown again.
Sure. So we've heard an awful lot about Epic. Last meeting, we had the lease for them to utilize part of St. Pat's as well as our expansion. This is a component that aligns directly with our board goal, which is to engage the community and family members. So a large portion of what you're seeing there, there's 2 full-time staff members. You'll see in the document that's attached the courses that they offer to the community, everything from how to read with your young children, to technology help, to working with tweens, you name it. These are family supports that work hand in hand with what the district offers. It's part of the Family Support Center, essentially, that is at the old St. Pat building, our Warrior Academy. The other part of this is a formal, we'll say, mentorship through and development of a community engagement plan or family engagement plan. Last spring, actually throughout all of last year, the district worked with Epic to compile data and put it into a plan. This year, they will be and are in the process now of forming a group, and you saw the presentation, I think, 4 meetings ago, to put all of this in place. This is funded through some of our funds from Students with Disability, and we're really looking forward to seeing this take off really over the next probably 4 to 6 weeks. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? We got a motion by Tracy, second by Carrie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Item C is our acceptance of our fiscal year audit. So we need a motion to approve the 22-23 annual audit and the corrective action plan.
Motion.
Yeah. Motion by Tad. Second by Carrie. Are there any questions?
Yeah, Karen, can you go over this again?
Line by line.
Page 1.
All right, motion by Tad, second by Carrie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Item 7D is our contract with Talk Path Live, and that is from October 2nd, 2023 through June 30th of 2024 in the amount of $20,570. So we need a motion to approve the Talk Path Live contract.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Brad, second by Dale. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Mark, can you turn it on?
Certainly, yeah. I was wondering about that because this was added on a little bit later. This is an outside agency to assist with us, or assist the district in meeting needs for students who need occupational therapy. We have a staff member who is taking a medical leave. If you know anything about the OT profession, they are far and few between, especially in the school setting, because they can make significantly more money out in the private sector. So this is a service that's provided sort of remotely that allows us to fulfill our requirements and do the best for students. The $20,000 is the top end of what we would anticipate spending. It's basically per pupil and per session what we pay. All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? We have a motion by Brad, second by Dale. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item 8A is our personnel consent agenda. And item 8B. We need a motion to approve all the items listed in section 8A.
Motion.
Motion by Dale,
Second.
second by Brad. Are there any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item 8C is a separation agreement, effective September 14th, 2023. So we need a motion to approve the separation agreement.
Motion.
Motion by Tad. Second by Tracy. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item 8B is a contract for our grant administrator. It will run from November 13th, 2023 through June 30th of 2025. It is Sandy Brundage. So we need a motion to approve that contract and resolution. Motion by Tracy. Second by, is that Brad?
Yep.
Second by Brad. Are there any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried. Item 8E, do we have anybody here we need to introduce?
Let me see, Mrs. Rute, you're up.
Good evening. This is Erica Wolf. We are super excited to have her as our new pre-K teacher. She comes with experience in pre-K from City BOCES. We were very blown away by her interview. She was able to speak to the critical components that those early learners need. Her lesson included movements and student interactions. And we are very excited to have an enthusiastic and creative teacher with us.
Awesome, well, welcome.
It's customary to give a speech.
I'm just really excited to join the team. It seems like a very nice district, and I'm very excited to kind of work alongside all of the young learners and just jump in and get started with my first teaching job.
Awesome. Glad to have you.
Let me see, Mr. Seaver, you have anyone? Mr. Beaver? No. All right, we will make sure that we welcome all of our new warriors when we see them in person.
Awesome. Perfect. Right, then we will move on to the information reports. We have our voluntary transfer. We have the meeting minutes for Indigenous Education meeting in September 13th, and then we have our upcoming events. So on the 28th, we have our high school open house from 5 to 6:30. We also on the 28th have Allegheny Cattaraugus Association of School Boards Fall Dinner Meeting. On 10/5, we have the NISBA voting delegate orientation. 10/9, no school, all you students, so mark that down on your calendars for Indigenous Day. 10/10 is our next fun Board of Education meeting, so you're all welcome to come back. That's gonna be 5:30 right here.
You too, Dale.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yep, Dale, you keep back.
Brad, yours is in question.
Yep. And then 10/11 is the next Indigenous Education Committee meeting meeting at 4:30 right here. And then on October 12th is Prospect Elementary Open House from 5:30 to 7:30. So that's kind of a quick update. And with that, I need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Carrie.
Second.
Second by Dale, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
New Jim.
Yeah.